Good morning. Good morning. It's Wednesday, September 20th. Today we're talking about three things you need to know Airbnb style. Today, all we're talking about is Airbnb. There's a bunch of articles. So there's three things you need to know about Airbnb if you're thinking about buying or investing or making that your arbitrage or side gig or side hustle. Airbnb might not be the castle you can dig your moat around. Let's get into this. We're also talking about uh, San Jose real estate 40 days on market report, which is just the basic numbers on what's going on. All right. So let's get into this. I'm reading a ton of articles here, and they all kind of fall into the whole ideal of what the hell's going on with Airbnb? Why is it such a non starter or non sequitur or why is it such a big problem? Well, there's a couple things, right? And we'll get into it a little bit more as we describe this, what's going on. There's hundreds of gurus on Facebook advertising or TikTok or wherever, and they're still telling you that buying Airbnb or Airbnb arbitrage or Airbnb is a great little side hustle you can make a ton of money on. Well, yeah, it is. It absolutely is, right? If it's not passive though. It's not passive. You just can't passively Airbnb. It just doesn't work that way. You have to be a hotelier of sorts in order for it to make sense for you to do this in a cost effective way. Now, what's going on is everybody's buying into, well, lots of people are buying into the whole idea of creating my legacy through Airbnb, which granted, you're allowed to, right? Who am I to tell you what to do? I just rather play this one a little bit more conservative and be more like Chicken Little and tell you that the sky could fall. Will it fall? I don't know. Don't listen. But look, these are signs, right? And you can read into the signs. These are facts. These are things that are coming in. Yesterday, we talked about this a little bit, or the day before, we talked about this a little bit. There's certain areas that are falling in revenue. What does that mean to you if you're thinking about, or you own an Airbnb? Well, supply and demand, right? And I don't know if this one has it or not. There's a heat saturation map where they tell you that there's so many units per available in a certain area. And look, there's a natural equilibrium to every market, right? Doesn't matter if you're in gold, in computers, in earphone, whatever, or in short-term rental, Airbnb or VRBO. The problem is that these numbers here have been oversupplied. And when there's oversupply, that means a few things. Your unit will stay empty for 50% of the time, or your revenues will go down 50% or about based on what the market demands or commands. And when we were in the COVID lockdown, you couldn't travel outside of the United States. You were pretty much locked in here, but you could travel. So you can go to Sedona, you can go to Phoenix, you can go to Cape Coral, you can go to all over the place, which we did, right? We were still locked down here in California, and I took my family to Cape Coral, Fort Myers last year or the year before. And what we noticed is there's a lot of Airbnbs. And we didn't Airbnb, we do VRBO. It's the same thing, right? There's this oversaturation of that. So during the lockdown, it made sense. You can go and travel yourself from San Jose to Florida or to Georgia or wherever and spend a day or a couple of weeks at somebody else's place. Totally makes sense. Well, now everybody's opening up. Travel is going to outside the United States, and where more travel is going to outside of the United States than inside than was before, and these places are not hurting, but they're just seeing a lower growth of revenue, right? Now, on top of that, New York and other big metropolitan areas are cracking down on Airbnbs because every metropolitan area has a government, and every government wants their little vig. They want their piece, and they're coming back and saying, no, you need to do this. You need to charge more money, and we need to regulate it. We need to make sure it's done correctly and it's habitable. And mostly because there's probably a hotel lobby saying, hey, this is not fair to us. They're taking money away from us who's licensed, and we follow all the rules, and these people don't have to do that, right? Curbed, if you look through Curbed, you're going to see an article about Airbnb every, if not week, every month, right? So they're always kind of talking about what's going on with Airbnb, and there's positives and negatives to it, right? I'm personally not a fan of Airbnb, and I'll tell you, because they don't treat their hosts right. They charge excessively high, and their fees are excessively high. And there's loopholes that screw over the hosts. And I'm not a big fan of that. And just like Uber, the Wall Street's coming down on them, saying you need to show more revenue. You need to show more revenue, which means the hosts have to pay. And the hosts have to pay. That means the guests have to pay. And then it just becomes a non-fun thing. Can you travel with your dog and your pets? Yes. There's other hotels that cater to pets. So, I've always felt that going to a hotel is just a better thing for me. It's clean. I don't know if it's cleaner, but mostly it feels cleaner. There's more amenities right at my beck and call. Yes, it's more expensive, but you're paying for the convenience. Again, nothing against Airbnb or VRBO. We use them when we go on big family vacations and we want to have a house and a pool to ourselves, right? Because we have teenagers, and teenagers like to sleep until noon on their vacation, which, whatever, I get it. I guess I was a teenager a while ago. So this guy goes through it as well. I would suggest, if you want to listen to this guy, the link is in all my platforms and all the content. He makes a pretty good argument for what's going on. Now, will Airbnb crash the real estate market? It could be a catalyst. Absolutely. It could be the spark that lit the fuse, that lit the cannon, that started the collapse. It absolutely could be, but it's not going to be the reason why we have an economic crash or a real estate crash. It could trigger it, but it's one of those things that is part of a domino that could come into a lot of different things. So let's quickly go into my little house of cards. Let me find it real quick. I'll explain to you. And I didn't have this planned. I just want to bring this over here. Remember tipping points? We are looking at all of this, right? We see automotive tipping point right now. We have the automotive union strike. They want to be paid more money. I get it. But what that's going to do is it's going to force the manufacturers to push more manufacturing offshore. It's because of inflation. I understand that. I'm not against or for unions. I know that they have a purpose. I belong to unions. I actually belong to the the largest union in the United States, which is the National Association of Realtors. Not a big fan of them either. And if you see the last couple of episodes, you'll see why. Energy is getting crazy expensive. Commercial real estate is losing billions of dollars in value every day. I think this is going to be the black hole that is ignited by whatever chain reaction we see. That's where I'm seeing it right now. Healthcare is kind of there. It's just overburdening. I think we have to go through a lot of reform change there. Credit cards, we're all maxed out as Americans because you're either overpaying, you have to feed your family. We understand, right? That could be a tipping point. I don't think it is right now. Not yet. And this, I think this won't be a catalyst. I think the Airbnb could be a catalyst to the housing market that would tip everything else out. But honestly, I think where we're going to see the big vacuum rip is here and the automotive. But that's where I've been saying automotive since 2008. Okay, let's see. REWTF of the week. Let me expand that for you. That is a clean out. It's not my listing. That's that's in Jacksonville. And those are, yeah, they are what you think they are. Remember I say people are nasty, people are nasty. All right. Let's see. Quick daily. Make this quick. These are homes in Apple. You can get a nice little, excuse me, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square foot condo for a mere $939,000. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that just amazing? Holy cow. Norwalk Drive. It's a little further away. It's only $850,000, and you get 3-bedroom, 3 baths. Another condo, 1.2, 2-bedroom, 3-bath, probably 2 half baths, upstairs, downstairs. We'll see. Albany. I sold one on Albany. Wow. Cool. All right, let's see these list price decreases. We're gonna start seeing a whole lot more of these, mostly because rates are still continuing to go up, less affordable, and people are seeing layoffs on the horizon, which means they're less likely to buy property. However, if you look at the pendings from last week, our pendings are actually up or equalizing at 74. We had 65 closings last week. We have 500 houses, single-family homes over 40 days on market. Those are the properties that you want to find to make offers on. The ones that are 90 days on market probably have something wrong with them, structurally overpriced, location, or the seller's just not willing to bend. So I'm not saying not go for those, but take a look at that. If you're going to buy a house, that's where you'll find your deals, because 73%, where is it? Where's my number? 76.77% of the houses that have sold last week sold for over list price. That's a normal thing. Look at this. Over the last couple of weeks, we're averaging about 76, 77%. Don't believe me? Take a look, right? Look at all these. That's last week. 127, 134, 107, 53 out of the 65 that sold for over list price. One. As opposed to last year, not a whole lot. We already saw the contraction coming in. The max was 117, but that was an outlier, because if you look at those numbers here, and you have to stare really close, most of them are 100 to 103, if not below. Okay. And cancellations are still standard. TFTs back on market. That's pretty nominal. Nothing's out of the ordinary, so we're still seeing things go average. Average sold price went up. We're at 1.7. Last year, 2000. No, that's. Last year, San Jose single-family homes topped around 1.9 million. So we're still about $200,000 away from where we should be. Yeah. And median price is 1.5. We're still in a healthy market here. Just keep an eye out what's going on outside. We live in a little vacuum, and that's understood. That's just the way things are. All right. Tomorrow we're talking about inventory across the United States and some more Airbnb probably. We'll see. I'm Vito with Avitano. We'll see you out there.